Hi, Ubeka. I'm one of the tutors at IELTSpodcast.com. My name's Daphne. Thank you so much for sending in your next essays. I am going to run through the corrections for you. I gather you have got 8 essays to work through, which is going to be great. I don't know when your exam is. I gather you've done it before. This essay looks amazing to me. Really, really good. I will run you through it in a second. I just wanted to comment on your word count. You are on about 400 words, just under. You really don't need to write so much. If you write this in 40 minutes, that's perfect. Well done. But you run the risk, if you write too much, the examiner may say, oh, goodness me, I've got a lot of essays to get through. It's too long. So, for me, I think you're running a risk of that. I would do between 300 and 350 if you are confident on that. I wouldn't get into 400, so I really, really would be careful on that. Also, the danger is that in exam conditions, you are more nervous, and so you might make more mistakes. So maybe just be aware of that, okay? Also, I'd love to know if you're writing this essay in 40 minutes, if you have a spell check on your computer, because honestly, your spelling is amazing. I'm not saying I don't believe you, but just so you know, you are giving yourself a realistic chance, kind of thing. Okay, so these days, more and more citizens of both the developed and developing world are protesting against their governments and losing faith and trust in them. Perfect. Some people believe that today's globalizing economy, I will go globalized ED economy, poses a significant threat to the democratic system of government and therefore, sorry, I've done that wrong. Sorry, I think I've added in therefore, but there shouldn't be a gap there. Or you can work out what I mean. Obviously, there shouldn't be that gap there. Okay, therefore, it is difficult. I think you need this in. It is difficult for the crowd. Now, I wouldn't use the crowd. I would just use just for people. There's a few times you've used the crowd. It's not really the right word. To take control of their representatives. In this essay, I'll highlight why the cited system. Cited, yeah, you've used that a few times. It's okay. I'm not quite sure about it. By the aforementioned, or just simpler, this system of government, this system is more vulnerable to. Now, the preposition that comes after vulnerable is to, not of, failure in this globalized era than when first incepted. Okay. All right, I put globalized, you put globalizing, and I changed that. Today's, okay, you could have global economy then. I know you've got global there. Okay, you could have worldwide, something like that. I see you're trying to paraphrase, and well done. On the one hand, there's ample evidence that the international financial system does system singular does not follow democratic principles and hence weakens it, challenging citizens to take control. They don't have control, this is the problem, but they want to take control or even partial control of their government's business. Excellent. Central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, the global banking system is highly elitist, with in striking contrast, I would say. We say in contrast to democracy, which should include every citizen. Very well, good point. Secondly, capitalism creates many unequal societies, exacerbating social divides and aggravating economic inequalities, in contrast to the democratic form of government, which aims at creating equal societies. This is amazing. I cannot argue with any of this. It is extremely intelligent and extremely articulate. For instance, recent empirical research has shown that 60% of the wealthiest international companies here, chains, yes, okay, but I think you need to put companies first, and then if you were going to refer to them again, you could put chains. So for me, companies often evade laws, taxes, environmental, and even labour standards. Good. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that instead of crowd, again here, I put voting population, no longer have control. So no longer, the adverb has to come first, no longer have control of their government's practices due to the growing concentration of power and inequality. Okay, excellent argument, very, very well developed. On the other hand, apart from global monetary markets, contemporary technology platforms, I would say, undermine and create flaws in democracy. This is because such tools have both uncontrollable and unchecked power, mainly dominating. I go frequently dominating, maybe, because it's not always true for everybody, every aspect of the user's life. In other words, they, that is these companies. So, yes, you can have they. You may need to say such organizations. I'm very keen on pronouns, but sometimes it can be a bit confusing as to what you're referring back to. Can target more vulnerable citizens and manipulate them by popping biased ads into their newsfeeds. Oh, it's so annoying, isn't it? I hate that. For example, Facebook greatly influenced the British election campaign regarding Brexit through advertisements. I wouldn't use via; it's a bit too informal. Financed by the we would say by the Leave. It's a terrible situation here. By the Leave EU campaigners. Okay. Thus, it's possible to state beyond doubt that now you can have it, technological companies, which are an aspect of the modern era, have great jurisdiction over people's opinions, yes, and even votes, yes. Okay. To conclude, I've highlighted the two main factors. Yep, I truly believe that the increase in susceptibility and vulnerability of the democratic form of government believes that, hang on, this has increased. You need a present perfect, I think, here. The susceptibility of the government, yeah, because hold authority and dominance over nearly every citizen of the world. Okay, this is one of the most intelligent essays I've read for a long time. I'm really impressed. I think it's fabulous. You could be writing for a newspaper, opinion column. I think it's really, really good. You can do this in the exam. Wow. I mean, this is really, really high level. So just to run you through, task achievement, yes, absolutely no problem. Coherence and cohesion, yes, it's very easy for me to understand. You've used nice complex sentences, nice linking words to show me where you're going. Your grammatical structure is very good. I particularly like some of your complex sentences where you've really used them very correctly. And your language is excellent. Really, really good. You said you were more worried about the task one. Give yourself 20 minutes, okay? See what you can do in 20 minutes. Yeah, I agree. Sorry, the image is not very clear. But let's go through this. The pie charts depict the percentage breakdown of, you don't need to have this, lease bought and shared automobiles, S, in both England and Scotland. The bar chart compares sales rates of VW in the aforementioned. Oh, we're missing something. In the aforementioned countries. Okay? That was there. Where's it gone? Sorry, I know you had another line here, and I don't know where it's gone. I think you had another line which said in the aforementioned countries over a period of 1990 to 98. Okay, I'm pretty sure I did read that, and it's disappeared. So good first line. Then you're going to get into your overview. Overall, what stands out from the pie charts is that England and Scotland differed, yep, while Scotland had a clear preference for. So preposition of the preference is for. Bought cars. Now careful, you've used the past participle for bring, and you want buy, which has no, look here, no R in it. So preference for bought cars. England was. Now divided suggests, well, you put divided between leased and purchased, so you've left out one section anyway. So I'm going to put in here split between leased, purchased, and whatever the other one is, cars. So you could have divided, but you need to have all three of them. Looking at the bar chart, generally Scottish owners who purchased VW cars far outnumber their British counterparts during the studied period. Okay, now I'm not sure that's right because I think this is the number for Scotland, and then England is this plus this. I don't think England is just that to that. Yeah, remember England's much bigger than Scotland, so I think the total for England would be 280 here, thousand, whereas the total for Scotland will be 190,000. Okay, so I'm not sure you've quite read that right. So I think that for me that line is wrong. I would say it should be the other way around. English outnumbered Scottish. Now, technical problem here. I'll just go into it here. You don't need on the one hand, on the other hand. It's not a kind of essay, so I wouldn't bother with that. I just go straight in with facts. So, on examination of the pie charts, well, over a third of English. Now, British includes Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, Northern Ireland as well. So you have to have English citizens. Least car, only just over a tenth. Okay, you either have just over a tenth, or I would just go, give me the number, 15% of Scottish. You don't need this. Yeah, Scottish did so at the same time. Good. Conversely, proportions of shared cars in both countries are broadly similar, and between more than a tenth and 2/10. Nice. Meanwhile, percentage of cars purchased was nearly double that of, I don't like cited, those in England. Okay, that's absolutely perfect. Nice paragraph. Now I go in here regarding the bar chart, capital letter. Sales of VWs fluctuated during the period in both nations. Okay. However, the number of purchases in Scotland varied constantly. You can't vary constantly. That's a contradiction. Just go varied from blah to blah. Now we write these numbers like this with a comma in the middle, not a full stop. A lot of countries do full stop. In English, we do this. 290, same thing, with the highest sales rate in the years of 1994 and the lowest during the last 2 years. Okay, you don't need that. Just a comma again. Okay. In contrast, or by contrast, generally, Scottish earners were fewer than the British. Yes, that's right. You've got that right here. So it's just in wherever it was up here that you just confused it there. Oh, sorry. Okay, my mistake. Okay, no, I'm sorry, I'm going back to this bit. I thought I'd got that wrong. Outnumbered that. Okay. No, I am right on that one. On the bar chart, the English is higher. Because the pie charts, we don't know if they're a VW or not. They're just cars in general. Back to this. By contrast, generally, Scottish VW owners were far fewer than British. Yes, experienced sales figures less than 30, just over 120, with noticeably smaller buyers. Okay, that's fine. You're not telling me anything about the British, the English pattern here. Yeah, you could be commenting on this, that the peak sales was in the last 2 months. Okay, so yes, that's lowest for that, but in contrast, the highest sales for the British owners were in 1990, 97, and 98, at almost, or at between 280,000 and 300,000. I think that is a number that's worthwhile putting in. In a way, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because for 94 in Scotland is the highest, but actually that's one of the lowest years for the English sales. So a little bit of that sort of, you asked what information to put in, I think that's worth putting in. So this bar chart information, reading it carefully, you've really focused on the Scottish, and you haven't mentioned the English. Far fewer than the English. Experiences sales. Okay. This is smaller buyers. Yeah, okay. I think you might want to just put something, one line about the English ownership here, just to finish off with. As far as English, the English sales pattern was concerned. And then just something about that, when the highest months, the highest years were, and when the lowest years were. So you've probably, just looking at the word count, you've probably got too much information here. So maybe you need to tidy up this information and leave another line for the English pattern. Okay, so generally, I think you've actually done this very well. You have given a nice outline, you've given an overview, you've come into good detail on the pie chart. The kind of organisation of the bar chart information is a little bit confusing because you do need to mention the English pattern as well. On the website, there's a module, a free little video, just all about how to do these bar charts. So maybe revise that before your next bar chart task. Overall, you have done extremely well, and I'm really impressed. Thank you.